Good, welcome. So, 3 packed days, 6,000 enthusiastic attendees, and hopefully some 300 inspiring speakers. And basically, we are all looking for the same thing. And I'm here today to tell you that we have found it. So who are we? We are a European-based deep tech company, and we are a market leader for real-life wearable eye tracking systems. And we have our current solution in the market, the VPS 16. As an OEM, we develop, engineer, and manufacture our systems on our own. So, but now gets to the point, what did we find? What is it? Well, in fact, it doesn't matter whether you are in software or in hardware, in production or development or marketing or research. The one thing we all crave is the key to breaking down the barrier between man and machine, or woman and machine for that matter. There are two realities, that's a fact, or we wouldn't all be here, right? There is the physical reality and there is the digital reality. And they do meet, they touch, they intersect, but they never fully merge, or at least until now, or at least as far as I know. That's why one reality augments the other reality, or the realities even become mixed, but they stay separated. And everything we here are all in search for amounts to finding a way to create the fully seamless connection between these two realities. This is kind of the holy grail of VR, AR, MR, or XR, or whatever you are working on. We call it the full immersion in the digital loop. It's about creating an environment where our two realities merge so seamlessly that they effectively become one to us. And helping you achieving this goal is our mission. But there are still a few obstacles to overcome before we can achieve total immersion. First of all, there's the question of the interface you choose, so that we and the machines can really communicate with each other. I mean, first there was the keyboard, and then came the mouse, and then the touch screen, and now we have gesture and HMDs and other ways. And many of these interfaces do work well, some even great. And yet it often feels as if we have put the cart before the horse. That's at least our picture we are having. Because we think technology when we should be thinking humans. It's about the people who actually use the technology. Many of us focus on some sort of harder, better, faster, stronger, kind of more speed, more connectivity, more data volume. But basically we forget to ask what people really need. And when you give someone technology that can do everything, you're really giving them nothing. No one needs everything. Everyone needs something. And that something is always specific. And ideally the machine would know what you need by itself. Interactions that revolve not around technology but around people, that would be true immersion. There is another barrier keeping us from breaking through into the digital loop. So far, the man-machine conversation has been mostly a one-way street. Sure, machines are starting to understand us, and they even do learn from us, which is pretty amazing. But only if we make them. Only if we consciously steer them. They hear what we tell them, but they don't hear what we don't tell them. In typing, swiping, or gesturing, or whatever kind of interfacing, even in speaking, the only thing that is conveyed is the conscious content of your personal input, but never the subconscious. So you have to tell your machine what you want. That's some kind of like a romantic partner that you have to tell how you feel and that you now really would love to have a kiss right now. Awkward situation. Wouldn't it be much better if they just took one look at you and they knew? Kind of a machine that you could read and that could read you. That, from our point, would be true immersion. And lastly, there is a rather mundane obstacle keeping us from breaking down this barrier between the physical and the digital reality. Life. This boring day-to-day practicality. I mean, what good is a XR, sorry. Now I'm up to speed again. What good is a cross-reality interface that is cumbersome, is heavy, potentially ugly, or just plain tedious? I said it before and I'll say it again, technology needs to be there for real people. And people want convenience in their life. They want hardware that they can use every day, that kind of looks cool, that's easy to use and that's fun to use. And just by dreaming for a second, in a perfect cross-reality world, you wouldn't even notice that you were using an interface at all. Basically, you would just be. Just do your thing and the digital loop would simply exist all around you, and that would be true immersion. Sorry, that's not, is there an automatic in it? No, it doesn't matter. So let me sum up what an interface for a truly immersive interaction with the digital would need. It needs to be intuitive, portable, easy to use and able to read you like a loving spouse. Now let's assume you have found such an interface, or you have even developed one. Do you now have full immersion? Not really. Why? Because it's not just the interface, but what you do when you're inside the digital loop that makes for an immersive experience. On top of great hardware, you do need great software, a cloud-based intelligence that can understand the input you are sending into the digital reality through your interface. If you were given any and all information and assistance you need, when and where you need it, and only then, without even having to ask for it, that would be true immersion. I think by now you must be thinking, so is this guy up there telling us that he has all the answers? All the hardware and the software that we need for total immersion? No. And to a certain extent, yes. Let me tell you what we think is going to happen next and why we think it must happen like this. And we also think that we are going to be right at the forefront of this development, driving it and co-creating it, and hopefully together with some of you guys. For the past years, we have been putting together a puzzle, taking pieces that were already existing, creating a couple of new ones, and fitting them together into one connected hardware-software platform that is just about ready to revolutionize the way we enter the digital loop. Much like the million times quoted iPhone together with iOS once was. Just remember, there were phones and browsers and MP3 players, and basically no one really cared. And then these existing concepts were brought together into a unified user experience. And what then happened is that technology basically took a backseat, and what people needed came to the fore. And it did change everything. We propose nothing less than doing the same for AR, MR, XR, or whatever else we may call the coming together of the physical and the digital. If you take away one message from this presentation, it is this. We have found the master key to digital immersion. And this is an opportunity we are creating for all of us. We are not there yet, but we have come far already. and we believe our approach will be the defining one for the future. Which brings us to your eyes. Why the eyes? Well, they are not called the windows to the soul for nothing. Allow me, since this is such a central part of our subject, to briefly take a moment to give you a basic overview of why studying a person's eyes yields such useful information. It starts with the amazing machine that our body is. We humans have the impressive ability to easily and instantaneously detect the regions in a visual scene that are most likely to contain something of interest to us. This pre-selection process is called visual attention, and it is extremely powerful. Its two main physical components are eye movement and pupil dilation. The movement part consists of ballistic changes in eye position called saccades and of fixations. In other words, the gaze jumps around, then fixates on something, and this is the moment when information is extracted from the visual scene. And the widening of the pupils then indicates a visceral emotional reaction to our surroundings and mirrors the basic emotions of fear, anger, disgust, sadness, happiness, or surprise. Now, if you combine that, if you know these small but telltale bodily movements, then it allows us to learn a lot about the subject. It means where does he look within a scene, how does the person avoid looking at an unpleasant stimulus, how their eyes widen or their pupils dilate, and that can be a diagnosis of the task at hand, their personality, or their current state of mind. On a deeper level, creating the digital iris, that's a digitalized representation of eye and pupil movements, give us access to the autonomic nervous system. And this is the control system that acts largely unconsciously and regulates bodily functions such as the heart rate, digestion, respiratory rate, urination, sexual arousal, or precisely, pupillary response. This system is the primary mechanism in control of the fight or flight response, which means understanding eye movement leads to understand humans on their deepest level. The advantages of more or less reading people deeply as a means of creating an interface to the digital reality are manifold. Digitizing the gaze is non-invasive. It mirrors sensory, mental, and emotional reactions, offers a very high accuracy, all without affecting the subject. So basically, when you're tired, when you're confused, when you're excited or stressed, minuscule movements of your eyes already give it away. And while eye tracking was around since, 30, 40 years, and others are doing it, we have developed a technology called eye hyper-tracking, which allows us not only to see what you see, but also to see what you feel whilst you're looking at it. That's one piece of the puzzle. Tracking eyes and understanding subconscious eye movements to understand how the person tracked feels. Here's another puzzle piece. We can do all that with a mobile device, glasses that are no heavier or more cumbersome than regular sunglasses. They sort of look cool, and they don't make the wearer feel awkward. So what they do, they become socially acceptable. That's another puzzle piece. They're easy to bring along, easy to use, easy to maintain, and they actually are going to be embraced by people. That's a true puzzle piece, social acceptance. Also, our technology solves a problem others haven't so far. While there was superior eye tracking, it wasn't stable in changing light conditions. Ours is you can walk from a dark cellar into bright sunlight, and the system will work. Another puzzle piece, which is absolutely a must-have for achieving full immersion. An unbelievably robust eye tracking that is light and usable. And we are developing the software to go along with this revolutionary interface, so that your machine can make sense of the subconscious eye movement and other biometric information of people in general, but can also learn to recognize your very own personal reactions. And then it does learn to create from this data predictions of individual behavior. In other words, if he stares like that, it means he's going to freak out in a second. And your machine can give you assistance and information to calm you down or support you in any other way, without you having to say a word or even know that you needed the assistance. That's another puzzle piece. So let's put all these puzzle pieces together and see what we get. It's nothing less than the smartphone of cross-reality. Hardware that acts as a precise and enjoyable interface that you can control and use to talk to your machine. Software that can interpret the subconscious messages of your eye movements and thus recognize how you feel from being tired to going into a panic. A cloud solution in the background that can extrapolate individual behavior prediction, and a functionally robust system that can read you and your environment and make predictions of events and your reactions to them. We call it Digital Iris. Over the next few years, our target is to bring this revolutionary technology to perfection, adding a large number of components and sensors to the system. It is our vision to create a human behavior model that digitizes the rational and emotional situation of each individual. And to have the sensor technology to read human intention and needs from the eyes is also a must-have. These insights with other biological data helps us to convert information to knowledge, and knowledge that really helps us to become even more human-centered. We are convinced that the digital iris is the definitive tool to integrate the human being into the digital world. It represents a disruptive leap forward in capability and practicality, and it doesn't matter what the conditions are. What we are doing is based on existing know-how, using embedded case image processing previously used in the automotive industry, which is led by our experts. This ultimate human-machine interface will immerse the user into a complete digital loop and is opening up completely new and disruptive applications in industry, mobility, and medicine, amongst others. Our launch date will be January 2019, and we are convinced that together you and our technology will change the way we interact with the digital reality. Thank you.
So, are there some questions for our speaker? And his mysterious slideshow. One question. Perfect. Please.
Sure.
Keep your...
Yeah, no worries.
Actually, I'm looking for more technical data, like how the accuracy, power, and when you mentioned launch day is customer sampling or mass production. Thank you.
It's mass production, it's 8 hours, it's below 1 degree.